Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this time it is of the 1980 film The Changeling. Now, I'll talk about the Blu-ray at the end of the video, but the movie itself, saw this a long time ago. I've seen it quite a few times, and I can say this is one of my favorite ghost story movies. It's definitely up there with John Carpenter's The Fog, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I'm not sure what would be number one, but this would definitely be in my top five. Because The Changeling is very well directed by Peter Medak. Sally, his career, I mean, what, Species 2, that film sucked. It's really the only film he did that I care about. George C. Scott is the lead, and he does a fantastic job. I'm a fan of George C. Scott. Love him in The Exorcist 3. He does a wonderful job in this as a man. Someone even says here, one of his greatest performances ever, bloodygoodhorror.com. I agree. He is a composer, and you have this very tragic scene at the beginning of the film where he's with his family, his wife and daughter. The car's stuck, they're pushing along the snow. He gets in a phone booth to call for a tow truck, and this horrible accident happens, and there's a nice usage of slow motion, and one truck hits the back of their car, which then hits his family who's in front of it. Very tragic. No music happening at that moment. At least when, like, based on this, the director did a wonderful job. I mean, that moment alone, it's like shocking. It's tragic. You're like, oh shit. And then freeze frame of George C. Scott's reaction in the phone booth. No music, just the titles pop up. Very effective, which is a lot of scenes in this movie. Very effectively done. And I think what you have here is a combination of a director doing his job well, memorable sequences like the rubber ball that was George C. Scott's daughter's toy. He takes it, he drops it off in the river, in the ocean, wherever he comes back home, and down the stairs is the same ball, but wet, as if the ghost grabbed it and teasing him some more, and you see it drop down the steps and roll right in front of George C. Scott, very well framed. Yeah, powerhouse actor, and you got an interesting story. You know, it's a bit of a mystery as to what this ghost wants, and the title definitely plays into that, as well as this cover and what this cover means to the story of the movie. It's a very intriguing story, and it pulls me in anytime I watch it. And you have a lot of, like, they don't make movies like this nowadays, and what I mean by that, making a horror film for adults. Even though the first time I saw this, I was a kid. Well, I don't know about kid, but I was in my teens, at least my teens or 20s. And even then I'm like, okay, this is a horror film that's not just 18-year-old, 20-year-old, or people trying to be 20-year-olds. Not just young kids yelling and screaming. Believe me, many of those films I enjoy. But you don't have a lot of horror films nowadays that have big, like, adult actors. Not saying none. You have the rare, exceptions. But a lot of times it's either very young kids or it's that. I keep saying young kids, but I don't mean like little kids, but it's, you get what I mean, like 20s, maybe 30-year-olds, but like, you don't get a lot of established actors. And then when you, sometimes they do get established actor and they're in the background or they're the third, fourth lead, while these fresh-faced people that can't act the way out of a fucking goddamn supermarket, they're the type of people that bring a fucking umbrella to see Purple Rain. And you're just like, oh my god, why is that the lead? Or why are these people the lead? You have this great actor, why can't that actor or actress be the lead? But this instance, you do have that, George C. Scott. You don't have many actors anyway like George C. Scott. Like, this is a guy who demands your attention and to be a, when he gets angry, has a powerful presence. But here plays a guy who is emotionally damaged because there's even a moment where he's crying in bed over the loss and he's dealing with it. And it seems like maybe this ghost sees that and uses that to help its, I don't want to say motive, but what it wants to accomplish. And it did a lot of nice, well done sequences. There's a scene with a psychic lady, and this guy gives her a pencil, and she's just writing and looking straight ahead while asking questions. And then when the ghost wants to answer, makes her do it. EVP, electronic voice phenomena. I'm not sure what the first film had the EVP, but this is definitely an early one. And George C. Scott listened to it on this old recording device. Some nice bits and shots with this wheelchair that was in the attic of this house. Just what happens at the beginning of the film after this tragedy, he's a composer, likes to play on the piano, he teaches at a school, and he moves into this mansion, and then weird stuff starts happening, like this deep pounding. No one can explain what's going on. He finds this door hidden behind this shelf in this closet, leads to an attic, and that's where stuff really kicks into high gear. The other actors do a good job. How to pronounce Melvin Douglas, John Colicos, Madeline Thornton Sherwood, Helen Burns. They're not recognizable names for me. I gotta be honest, but they play the roles very well. Everyone is acting like they're in the same movie. They're not campy or over the top or being piss poor. And it tells a story that I found interesting at the end of the day. Now, I'm going to go into spoilers right now, so if you don't want to know what it is, feel free to shut off the video and give the movie a check of your own. But before doing that, why do I enjoy this film once again? I think it has really well done acting, especially from the lead, George C. Scott. It's an old-fashioned ghost story. Yeah, I love ghost stories that have a lot of physical stuff going on, and there's a couple things, especially when you get to the ending. But what you need for a movie, you need good actors, you need a good story, you need a good atmosphere for a horror film. And I think this film does all three of those very well. And I really don't find much flaws in the flick. The movie didn't go on too long. Winner of 8 Genie Awards, including Best Foreign Actor, Best Foreign Actress, and Best Canadian Film. Forgot this was a Canadian film. I'm not sure where the Genie Awards take place. I think that's an overseas thing. Trish Van Devere, she did a good job in the film as well. And the thing about the story I like is George C. Scott is shown that this little boy, who is the ghost, had drowned. His father had drowned him. And you're wondering, why the hell would a father drown his own kid? And that leads into finding out where the boy has been buried, which is on this other location. which this poor woman and her daughter are living at, and they have to dig up the floorboards, and there's this well, which I have to wonder whoever did The Ring or Rendu, if they were inspired by this movie, because this movie has digging something up, there's a well, going down the well to find a body. I don't know the director of the original Rendu, if they were fans of the Changeling or not, or it was just coincidence. Which Rendu I don't like. The remake with Naomi Watts I don't mind. The Rain, I actually like that film. The sequel not so much. Didn't see the new one, but I like this more than any of them. Just put it out there in case people wanting to know. But the whole deal was the real boy was sick and crippled. That's why he had to live in this wheelchair. That's the wheelchair we've been seeing throughout the movie. And for the father, there was a will from the grandfather saying, if that boy reaches 21, you get the inheritance of riches. If it doesn't happen, and the boy doesn't reach 21, that money will go to charity. So the father, being a scumbag piece of shit duck fuck of a guy, was worried that the boy would die because he's so sick and crippled before that time came to be. So he killed the boy, drowned him, got another boy from an orphanage, had that pretend to be his boy. There's one World War II, so no one saw the boy, and oh yeah, the boy's with his father, and it's been many years. Oh wow, he's cured, and he's not crippled, he's not sick anymore, and they made the boy believe that he was this character. I think the character's name is Joseph Carmichael. And now this boy, the Changeling, that's what a Changeling is, he's now grown up to be a senator, and George C. Scott tries to reach him because he has a medal that looks the same as this guy was given by his father. And yeah, if you're going to this for a lot of action, that's not what the movie's about. There's little bits like the seance sequence. There's a bit where our lead actress in the film, she's chased by this wheelchair, and there's some nice, at one point, a very nice POV shot. There's an ending where the house goes on fire, and this chandelier is about ready to fall on George C. Scott. But it's not all out action. It's not supposed to be. It's just telling this ghost story in an effective manner. It's They chose a very nice, the way they set the house up. They gave it a nice atmosphere. The score was fitting for the film. Who did the score? Rick Wilkins. The story was interesting. The mystery of behind this changeling and what happened as George C. Scott and the lady try to figure this out. And it's a movie, like, I don't really get scared with movies, so I can't sit here and say it was scary, but I'm not here to be cocky. Just not many films do scare me. I would say though that it does help when you have a very wonderful actor like George C. Scott in the lead, so that you have a character that you can really rally behind. And like we feel sorry for him from the beginning, and really want him to root for him. And it's one of those things that you have a guy like George C. Scott, very powerful actor. How do you feel sorry for him? I think that was one thing Roger Ebert had a problem with. He wasn't a fan of the movie, but I disagree with Roger Ebert. I think they did a very nice job. I can't really think of much problems I have with the movie. It's just one of those things that can't believe it took so long for it to actually get a Blu-ray. I mean, as for the Blu-ray features, there was a few little issues, like the 5.1 audio has a few little dialogue snippets not in there for some reason. But it's on the default 2.0 audio, and that's the one you should just listen to. There's one moment, blinking you miss it, where the camera kind of does this. Which again, if you blink, you miss it. I forget what time stamp it was at. And if you're doing this for the features, honestly, I'll probably never watch these features again. The commentary with director Peter Medak, producer Joel B. Michaels, moderated by Seven Films' David Gregory, I found rather boring. Talking about the true story, the house on Cheesman Park. The guy who's talking about it, he seems a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Just the way he was talking, I'm like, is this guy on meds or something? I don't know, it was just weird. Interview with music arranger Kenneth Weinberg. Interview with art director Ruben Fried. The Psychotronic Tourist, The Changeling. That's a bunch of different people looking at certain locations of The Changeling. Which I prefer Sean Clark. So when he does it, I guess usually he does it for the Scream Factory stuff. Mick Garris talks about The Changeling. Mick Garris, he's directed movies like Sleepwalkers, Critters 2, The Stand. He's talking about it because he worked with the director Peter Medak and the Masters of Horror show. Peter Medak did The Washingtonians. And also Mick Garris is a fan of the film, so he tells a couple minutes about it. Posters, still gallery, radio spots, TV spot, and a trailer. So, you're not going in this for the features, in my opinion. You're going in this to see the film in HD, which was nice to see. Just a well done, effective ghost story movie. And I think if you're all a fan of horror films and ghost stories, this is well worth a look if you haven't seen it yet. There is a Blu-ray from Second Sight Films, so I don't know if you want to look into that and see if that would be more your cup of tea than Seven Films. That's up to you. Either way, big fan of this movie. Definitely one of the better films of 1980 in my opinion. I would still put The Shining, Stanley Kubrick above it. And I probably would put John Carpenter's The Fog above this. But, like I said, it'd definitely be my top 5 favorite ghost story movies. I'm not sure what the other two would be. I don't know, I'd have to look at a list of like ghost story films. Have to think about that more. But The Changeling. Classic film. Classic piece of filmmaking. So, thanks for watching. Take care. The disc is pretty much same as the cover. Which I like that cover too. It's simple but effective cover. How did you die, Joseph? Did you die in this house? Why do you remain? And you find out why. So, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you later. Bye bye.